Hey, y'all, and Happy New Year, and welcome back to the Bliss to Abundance podcast. I am talking today with the CEO of Suitcase Designs, Justin Hinkle. He's also a Wonderlust Campus Careers on Vacation graduate. And today we are talking all about how to build trust using your website. Justin is awesome and is building websites just for travel advisors. And he has so much to add about case studies and testimonials, reviews, even adding those certifications and affiliations. This is a really great conversation in a point of contention for a lot of our students, and I'm sure for a lot of you listening out there too. So, wait no longer and dig into today's episode.
Welcome to Bliss to Abundance, the podcast for growth-minded travel entrepreneurs.
Hey, y'all, and Happy New Year, and welcome back to the Bliss to Abundance podcast. I am here today with Justin Hinkle from Suitcase Designs. Suitcase Designs is one of Wonderlust Campus's valued partners. Justin, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Kelly?
I am so good. Thanks for hanging out with me. Let's talk websites today.
Yes. I'm excited.
So before we jump too far in, they've probably heard you here before, but if they haven't, tell everybody a little bit about Justin.
I am Justin Hinkle, CEO of Suitcase Designs, a website design agency specifically for travel agents.
And I love that because you're a travel agent.
That's correct. I'm also a travel agent. I run Moonshot Travel. We really focus on travel agencies because it's a passion of ours. So, travel agents need an affordable way to put a professional presence forward. And we seek to be that solution in the industry.
I love that. One of the biggest, first off, you and I have something in common because I never went into just general marketing. I was a travel agent and then decided to do marketing for travel agents because it was what I was really good at in my business. And I think you did marketing before, but you really, the focus of yours being travel agent or websites for travel agents is such a huge deal because I think it's so specific to what they need.
That's correct. We really, using my background as a travel agent, we can speak their language to their ideal client. And that's really a big focus because what you're writing on your website is one of the number one things that keep a client, turned on to you and want to stay on your website and learn more about you and your service.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it changed the game in teaching marketing because I wasn't trying, and we say this when we teach anyway, that you've got a niche down, but it's important for our business. Obviously, it worked for both of us, but also for the person, they get such a more specialized care, if you will. Anyway, we hadn't talked about that before. That we have that in common. So anyway, so we're going to talk about websites today, and we're really talking about building trust through websites. And one of the things that we see at Wonderlust Campus that overwhelms the pants off people is website, because either they're crazy expensive because they're going full custom out the gate, which is very difficult and very expensive. They try to go with a template website and they get kind of pigeonholed into not having options, or it doesn't look the way they want it to, or it looks like everybody else. Or the third option is, before we had Justin working with us, is that they would try to build their own website.
Yeah.
And no, if that's not your full-time job, it's just not going to happen. It's just difficult. And it can also be expensive because you're not going to just start coding from the ground up. So you've got to put all these things together. So websites within Wonderlust Campus have been one of the most difficult pieces of the puzzle for people to put together, which is one of the reasons we're so glad to have you. But when it comes to the overwhelm, it is there for good reason, because websites make you feel like a legit business.
Yeah. Without a website, people, like a professional foot forward, your clients aren't going to trust you. No matter how great your product or service offer is, they really want to know when they land on your website that it looks like something they can trust. It can't look slapped together.
No, and if you are really trying to set that precedent that you are a professional in
Mhm.
the industry, if you are trying to look like you did it, you're not just a sales rep or an individual, like, whatever, you've got to have some type of professionality, and it really can build trust with your audience.
Yeah, and a big part of that is remembering that the travel agent's selling themselves as the service.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of bury ourselves sometimes in what we do and just say, look at this great deal from, this cruise line or this all inclusive. And they can get that anywhere. That doesn't build trust in you.
No, not at all. And so one of the first things that I think that we've seen that can really be incorporated in their websites to help them build trust would be using client testimonials. So
Hmm.
how do you see people using client testimonials on their website a lot?
I do. I encourage it all the time with every client we have to pull testimonials from, even if they're new. Have you ever planned travel for someone before for free? You want to go get a testimonial, and they're powerful because they're social proof. If potential clients see that someone else has trusted you for this, they know that they can make a right choice because everybody else has had a positive experience. It just helps build that trust in you.
Yeah. So what and you're exactly right. That's one of the things that I teach when I'm teaching social media in Careers on Vacation is I'll say, if you are here because you've planned a trip before. I don't care if it's for your spouse, for your uncle, for your cousin, for your
Mhm.
best friend. Even if you traveled with them, you planned the trip. That's why you're here. So go ask. They are your clients. Just because you didn't get paid for it doesn't mean that you didn't plan the trip. So what have you seen people using for creative ways to collect testimonials?
Creative ways to collect testimonials. Um, there's always the right after it's happened, send them an email. Just a direct request for testimonial. Um, they can use surveys after they've traveled. If they've got a decent amount of automation set up, it doesn't even need to be automated. But
But I
your
like
client
that.
has traveled, you send them a post-travel survey, and then they fill out some different questions. You can pull out some great quotes to use as testimonials, and you let them know you're going to use it as a testimonial. You
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah.
let them know that you don't want to kind of take your clients by surprise that you just pulled their words out and slapped them on your website.
Yeah. When you were talking about it being automated, though, I'm sure there are certain CRMs that you could automate and just be like, 3 days after end of travel or whatever the right tag is, send this email and it has a link for a survey or whatever in it.
Oh, absolutely. I know Turn CRM has a lot of automation built in that people can use, and it's based on your trip dates. From all the way from the beginning. Billing dates coming up and final payment dates to post trip stuff. Um,
Yeah.
it'll just automate it for you. I believe Travify does as well.
Yeah. I honestly don't know. I do know that Turn does, but I don't know about I don't know the ins and outs of Travify as well, but I think that that would be a great thing to just like implement. So when you're using these testimonials that they've gathered, what are the best ways to showcase them? Because from a social standpoint, we can do them in a lot of ways. Like I'm lucky enough that sometimes it's like you can just grab a screenshot of a text message that somebody sent you
Mhm.
and throw that out there. So that's a great thing, but you can't do that on a website. So what like and we're going to talk about reviews too because they're two different things, but like what are some really great ways to use those testimonials on a website?
Okay, some different ways is obviously just a testimonial section. If you've got a lot of them, you can have a whole testimonial page and sort of take it as just a giant piece of social proof. You can use it as you want to leverage them in a way to present a problem that you solve. Use a testimonial to show how you solve that client's problem. That's a big one. That's probably the most powerful way to present your testimonials.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be some crazy problem. It doesn't have to be like our hotel burned down before we got there and we had to go somewhere. It could be as simple as I was overwhelmed with the options of choosing a stateroom, and
Mhm.
Justin made it super easy and helped me select the right stateroom. And it was in the perfect place for my family. I mean, it can be that simple.
Yeah, and I'd pepper them throughout too. Start with your homepage because you always want that's the main page. That's where people are going to spend most of their time. Put it on your services pages if you have specific services, and say you're doing Disney trips or cruises, and have testimonials specific to those things. Um, you can also use them kind of almost like case studies.
Hmm.
Go more in depth. If you really, like you said, if there was a big problem, the hotel burned down. How did you get them into a new hotel without, seamless planning and coordination? But really go in depth with that client. Something big is if they do video.
Well, campus, like that's one of
Mhm.
our big things is we encourage video case studies all the time. I mean, on our YouTube alone, we've got more than 250 video case studies, but that's a great, especially, and I don't think, I mean, we go a little excessive at 250 case studies, but you don't need that many. If you can just get like your best clients that are absolutely thrilled and they want to tell everybody to show up on video, having those peppered throughout would be great.
Yeah, with a potential client, seeing other clients, face, voice, hearing that, it builds even
Funny
more trust.
not fake that.
Yeah, you're not just rewriting that on there. You can do it with like case study as an interview with them, like we're doing kind of like right now, or you could have them just record it on their phone and send it to you.
Yeah. You could even, so one of the things that we are getting ready to start doing is like create 5 questions
Hmm.
and send it out in that automated email with a survey and say, if you really want to help me, send me here's 5 questions I'd love for you to answer. Pick 1 or 2 or pick all 5 and record yourself answering it and send it back to me. And you could totally use that in a very different way. Something else that you said that absolutely that I hadn't even thought of until right now, but you talk about putting it on your services page.
Hmm.
First off, that's brilliant, especially for destinations. But then you also, if you could think through like specialties that aren't destinations, but maybe allergy friendly travel or autism friendly travel, someone who has experienced that, let's say that it's an allergy friendly travel and the person is like, I never thought that we would be able to go to Disney and eat in peace because of my child's gluten allergy. But with the help of whoever, we knew exactly what we were looking for. We had our reservations, we knew exactly how to handle it, and we had 0 problems. Like that would be so powerful as a parent who knows that they're dealing with that issue in the same time. Like the reassurance and peace of mind that someone would have from that immediately would be huge.
Really, yeah. Everything you can put with client testimonial, anything that clients back up, is just the social proof to solidify your standing in potential clients' eyes.
And I also think if you can't get them on video, asking them to give you vacation photos. So let's say you don't have a video of that kid, but there's a picture of that kid eating their gluten-free churros at Animal Kingdom with chocolate mustache all over themselves. That also speaks volumes.
Yeah, if you can have that photo alongside the testimonial on your website, get their permission, of course. But that just anything visual just really brings it home for potential clients visiting your website. Um, it really makes the testimonial stronger.
Yeah, so much. So testimonials are great, and from what and I want your opinion on this, but like we also have reviews, and reviews and testimonials are different. How would
Mhm.
you classify them?
Testimonials, I'd classify more as curated feedback you're getting from your clients. You're controlling the format and placement. You're putting it on your website. Reviews think about like Google or Yelp or Facebook. They're more public. Um, they're more impartial in the sense that you're not soliciting them. So you might have, you know, different levels of reviews. There's always that person that's like, oh, excellent time, the best ever, 4 stars. And, so
But my
you,
bed didn't sleep well, so or like I
Mhm.
hated the pillow they gave me, and so I'm gonna take a star away from my travel agent because I didn't like the pillow.
Right. So they're unfiltered. They're usually on third-party platforms, and people are leaving them, but they're great for things like showing Google that your business is active and people are interacting with it. So it makes you more trustworthy. And it helps your SEO. It helps you rise the rankings in Google as well. So if you're
So
gathering reviews, sorry.
no, go for it because I'll hold on to it because this is important. But keep going because I want to
I was
hear
going to
your.
say, you want to encourage clients to leave a review as well as gathering those testimonials from those really excellent cases. Um, you can send them a direct link from Google. There's a leave a review link from your My Business page. You can send them. You want to, when you're asking for that, you ask them for specifics. Prompt them to share specific details about their experience. And if they forget, you can kind of send a gentle reminder. Just, hey.
Nudge,
So,
nudge. Well,
yeah.
that's exactly what I was going to say or ask. Do you ask for both a testimonial and a review?
Yeah, I think you can ask them in different ways because there are certain clients that I think a testimonial will be stronger from based on your experience with planning that vacation. Um, I think you'd ask for reviews from everybody. I want an honest review from people so I can know, like in my businesses, where I can improve.
Yeah, I think that's important. The other thing is, I also think that if everything is 5 stars and perfect on Google or Facebook or Yelp,
Hmm.
it's is it like I think also as a consumer we have to go in expecting that you can't please everyone.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. And so I also think, Google you can reply, right?
That's correct.
So I would think that it's also very important. I love engagement social media wise, but I think it's really important to reply back good or not as good. And as a consumer, for me, the reply back on a bad review would be as important as seeing the bad review. Like,
Hmm.
how did they respond? And taking that with a grain of salt. And I think that that's okay.
I have seen some bad reply backs. I'm not just saying in the travel industry, but in Google reviews in general,
Yeah.
where the owners get offended or take it really personally and go more to fight the client versus we're going to have a solution for you or at least clients down the road. Thank you for pointing that out. You
Yeah.
really want to, the engagement needs to be positive.
Exactly. Your response matters. If it's not so good, and here's the thing. If they respond kindly, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you for pointing out blah blah blah," and then you get the same person coming back at them and is hateful again, the consumer, the reader is going to know, yep, this is not a them problem. This is the person who wrote the reviews problem. Like you
Mhm.
see that. And so I think you can combat a lot with that as well. But can you use these reviews on a website? Like can you point to them, link to them? What does that look like?
Absolutely. You can install like a widget or a plugin on WordPress and have a Google review counter. Even it'll show like some of the images and 4.8 stars. So,
Okay.
and you can put that in your, I'd put it in the hero section. If you had something like that, if you had reviews starting to build up on your Google reviews, because that's one of those things that doesn't take up much room but provides immediate social proof along with the rest of the hero section, bringing in, tying in who you are, what you do, and what it means to the client, and seeing that on top of it, they're more likely to stay on your website and investigate a little further.
It's really good. And I think it's so important to include both testimonials and reviews because then you're showing that it's not just impartial words or I
Hmm.
just made up a bunch of testimonials or something, but you're showing that you're just giving legitimacy to that
Yeah,
speech.
I think that having that balance, um, like you said, I could write a testimonial myself right now. I'm great, and even with a picture, I could be pulling a stock image or something.
Yeah.
But like you said, having that balance, the testimonials, especially if you get a video testimonial with the reviews, really shows that you aren't trying to, pull one over on the client either.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so another trust building piece of this are things like certifications and affiliations, any type of training that you've taken, things like that. And as a partner of Wanderlust Campus, we have worked a lot with you on adding in like Wanderlust Campus certifications, but
Mhm.
there are others out there and trainings from different places. How do you like to see those things displayed?
So I love them on the homepage because
Mm-hmm.
I want, as you're going through the homepage, once they've gotten through all the emotional connections with you and you're starting to use logic to back up their decision to book with you, you want to hit them with your certifications because that shows you're taking yourself seriously. You're investing in yourself and in your business so you can turn around and help that client better. So definitely across the homepage, you can put them in the footer, certain ones in the footer to be on every page. Um, Also on your about page, I would definitely use them there to build authority.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And but what all like obviously our educate like a Wanderlust Campus certification is super important. But what about like partnerships with um brands like
Mm-hmm.
a Royal Caribbean or Viking or an AMA or something like that? How do you suggest clients put those types of things on there?
I
Does that
do.
go in the services? Is that like what does that look like?
I actually pull that in like the in with the accreditations usually. So it's like certifications, accreditations, basically certified for your yeah, certified for your experience is kind of one of the things I would say.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but you can put like all those there because the I want to say it's an overflow of them, like just pushing it on to the client and saying, look at everything I've done for you. And you might not put it in one big thing, but maybe a carousel going by on the page with them.
That's smart.
Um, so they can kind of see things are popping up. Maybe I'll look more into it. Um, Put them near, make sure that like if you're doing a Disney services page, your College of Knowledge logo or certificate telling them that you've passed this is on that page prominently. Um, Things like industry accreditation or affiliations like CLIA,
Yeah.
ARC, IATA, I'd put those maybe also in the footer. Um, and I usually put COV in the footer too, so they can see you're a certified travel professional and you have these other industry affiliations across the website.
Do you think that you and I know with Wanderlust campuses, we have a link that they can click and it comes
Mhm.
back and it explains what it is. But do you add in what it means to be a certified travel professional or even a College of Knowledge graduate? Like, do you add in those things on the page so that the reader understands what that means?
Sometimes you do. Like we work in, I'm a certified travel professional and I've got this experience to help create these things for you.
Right?
Um, College of Knowledge, I'd work it in if you were doing a specific page for that. Um, but otherwise, for the reader, you don't want them also to be overwhelmed with information
That's
because
so
the number
true.
one thing you're trying to do is sell you, and just having that logo there, they're like, oh, okay, they've learned
That
about
means something.
that
Right.
company. Um, with the COV ones, we actually link back to because Careers on Vacation has a specific landing page that goes more in depth about that. So they all say, click on my certification to learn more.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's so important because that's exactly what I was thinking when you were talking about like if we were to add all the logos, like that's why I like the carousel. Because if you were to have add all the logos and you just keep scrolling down, number one, that's information overwhelm and you're
Mhm.
trying to eliminate that if you're the person. The other thing is from a standpoint of you don't want to send them and be like, oh, Viking, let me go look that up and then end up on Viking's consumer
Mhm.
site and book something on their own. So I think you're right. You need to be somewhat, there's a fine line between too much and meeting that mark.
Yeah, I think the only time we really want to link some of those supplier logos back to the supplier um, is if they're doing a co-branded page with the supplier.
Yeah.
We'll put a
See,
little
we
learn
aren't
more
huge
there.
fans of that. What do you think?
What's that?
I'm not a huge fan of that. What do
Oh,
you
I'm
think?
not at all. Some of our clients are huge fans of it,
I
so we
know.
we
I
do what
know.
they like. But I like the fact that you're selling yourself. You're not selling these
Yes.
suppliers. They have a huge marketing budget, and they're taken care of.
Yeah, they don't need you to market for them. I guarantee
Exactly.
it. I've said that 1,000 times. And the co-branded site takes because then you can just book, they can just book their own cruise just through it. It takes so much of the professionalism away. Like, if your purpose is to be a service provider, then be a service provider. Like,
Exactly.
I just, what's the point? And that's when it goes to, that's when I could not answer the question for someone. Like, that question of, why would I book through you when I can just book it online? If that's what you're using, I can't answer that question for you.
No, because it takes you so far out of the equation. It doesn't, like, oh yeah, well, I still service it, but you haven't really helped them doing the planning. That,
And you don't know, like, you don't know, like, how are you going to service it if you don't even know what the details of the trip are? Like, I'm not, that's a personal decision. But my opinion is, you've taken away the specialty of being a service provider.
Mhm.
And so you're going to be stuck in a lot of people being like, I could just go to their website and do this on my own. Now, the only time I see a difference in that is, let's say that you have a repeat client who books the same resort every year, or the same cruise line, ship, and everything every year, and they already know, and they are like, they're experts at that. Fine. But for a new client, I just think it takes so much of the detailed specialty work out of it.
And it takes a personal relationship out of it.
For sure.
Because
For sure. How are you, for a brand new client, if they book it that way, what's the point in them coming back to you the next time? Like, you've not made an impact. And I think the entire purpose of this is to build relationships that lead to lifelong clients.
And yeah, and like, you do it with a co-branded site. How did you make their planning process easier or better in any way?
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it just is not. It's not what I would want if I was going back to being an agent. That's not what I would want. So, all right. Well, what are the last couple ways? Just closing up, like, we've talked about testimonials and reviews, certifications and affiliations, but what about other ways that you are helping clients build trust using their website?
Well, to start right from the beginning, it's a clean, professional design. We avoid clutter. We don't go for like outdated looks. We try and make their sites look on brand. Basically all the way through the site. So it speaks in their voice. It speaks in how their brand is supposed to represent itself. You want the navigation to be clear, so there's not an overwhelming amount of links at the top to start, pushing a lot of things and getting lost in your site because you're trying to overwhelm them with information. They trust you more, I think, if you just arrive at the site and then you lead them down a path.
Yeah.
Path is to conversion. You want to secure your site, so your site should always have HTTPS, which shows you have security on the site to make sure you're protected, they're not stealing information or anything, and also have a privacy policy on the site. Privacy policies, terms of use, terms and conditions, things like that. Those all help build trust in you because you look more professional just to start. And then cohesive branding, when I'm talking about that, tone. You have a professional tone, but it's relatable. It's conversational, and you're speaking to that client specifically. They're going to trust you more versus a salesy pitch.
Yeah, I definitely think that tone is something that people negate when they think of on brand. They think about colors and fonts and logos, but they're not thinking about the voice being the same throughout. And I also think every tone for every business and who the ideal client is shifts. Like, if you're planning high-end luxury vacations, the way you're talking to someone is very different than if you're talking to a mom who is planning a Disney trip for her family. It's very different. They're two different things. And so I think that mentioning that, and that does create a trustworthy experience because it sounds like you. I also am a big believer in when they read your website or they read your social content and then they talk to you, it should sound the same.
Yeah, I agree. Everything we do from our perspective is we try and write in our clients' voices, and then we have them review all our copy to make sure it says what they're supposed to be saying. And when we do that, we have a questionnaire they fill out. We do a kickoff meeting with them, and we really try and get to know them and their ideal client and put those two things together.
I think that's so important. This was so good and so important. Like I said, that's one of the biggest things that our students are stressed over. It's always in marketing. I have a complex about people seeing me come and be like, no. But websites is a piece of that. So I really appreciate talking through this with you. Justin, tell everybody where to go next if they want to talk to you.
All right, they can come to our website at suitcasedesigns.com. And if you want to talk straight to us, suitcasedesigns.com/contact. And we can it's a free call, free consultation. We'll do a Teams meeting and we'll get to know about you and your website needs and what we can do to help you.
That's awesome. I can't speak highly enough. Our students, I've seen the feedback in our groups and everyone is loving everything that Justin's doing. So if you are in the market for a new website or want to see what else Justin can help you with, make sure you head over to his website. The links will be down below in the description and in the show notes. So I appreciate it. Justin, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You all will see him again here soon.
All right. Have a great day.
Oh, don't forget also, Justin, I didn't even mention this before we jump out. Justin also teaches classes inside Passport to Learning. So you can become a Passport to Learning member, but I also think his classes are free. So you just need a Wonderlist Campus account to get access to them, at least some of them. So head over to wonderlistcampus.com and create a free account. Once you get into your dashboard, you'll see our big global calendar. And you can take some of Justin's classes there as well. So that's an awesome thing. Totally forgot. That's a new thing since I've recorded the last time.
I think our next one comes up at the end of January.
Ah, very good. Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kelly.
If you like that last video, make sure you check out all the content available to you on our channel. And I invite you to follow along, travel with me around the world as I grow and scale my travel businesses. You're gonna pick up some great tips, some great tricks on how you can grow your own travel brand too. I'm gonna drop some links down below, and also check out these videos I handpicked just for you.